الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيد المرسلين وعلى آله وأصحابه وأزواجه أجمعين. Assalamu alaikum, my dear respected shuyukh, asatidha, brothers and sisters, those who are watching online. Assalamu alaikum. So alhamdulillah, today at this moment it's a little bit bittersweet, isn't it? We've achieved so much, we've studied for the whole year, we've taken exams, we've all been quizzed and tested by so many teachers, we've made friends, we've had musahaba with shuyukh, but at the same time it's all coming to an end with this final session. So really, I see before you, my dear brothers and sisters, three choices and three pathways which you can take, and it's upon you to make these choices as to what direction you want to go in. And these three choices, they exist in students that I've taught in my years down south in London and up north in Manchester. The first choice is that your times at ASI becomes a fond memory. Something in 5 years' time or 10 years' time, you think back, I went to a course once upon a time, I learned some Arabic, I learned some Islamic studies, and that was a good year. I made some friends. Do you remember what Brother Muhammad did? Do you remember what Sister Maryam did? Those were good times, and that was a good place. And every time I think about that, it makes me happy. But I didn't do anything further to it. It just became a fond memory. As the poet said, زَمَنٌ تَوَلَّى مِنْ رَبِيعِ حَيَاتِنَا في ظله ما أجمل الأوقات نلهو ونمرح والسعادة عندنا ما أصدق البسمات والضحكات. This was a time which we took in the spring of our youth. In its shade, we had the most amazing of times. We played and we rejoiced, and there was happiness amongst us, and we had lots of laughs and lots of smiles, and that was a good time. And there's nothing wrong with that. You spent a year studying, you spent a year learning, you made some good companions, but there are some amongst you who weren't able to continue, and that's fine. A second choice, which you may have, is the one where you look back, not in happiness, but in regret. There will be those amongst you in 5 years' time or 10 years' time, and the Arabic and the Islamic studies that you learn here today, you've forgotten everything. You will perhaps attend a course in the future where someone who sat next to you has now become your teacher because you are learning again. You will now attend a course and you will still be standing in your prayer, not understanding what is being said, not understanding what the Imam is saying to you, not understanding what the Quran is saying to you because you didn't continue it on. And this is no longer a memory, this is a sadness and a regret that I could have been in a position where I was no longer a student, but I was teaching other people. I could have been in a position where I could understand the Quran. I could have been in a position where I benefited others around me, be it my family, be it my friends, be it other young brothers and sisters who come to study with me. And as the poet said, بكيت على الشباب بدمع عيني فلم يغن البكاء ولا النحيب فيا أسفا أسفت على الشباب نعاه الشيب والرأس الخديب. He goes, this is a poet who is lamenting about his lost youth. And the youth is a time when you have power and energy to fulfill things. Sometime in life you may not have the time or the energy, but when you're young you have this strength. And he's lamenting that he had that ability, but now he no longer has it anymore. I cried over my youth with tears from my eyes, but these tears didn't satisfy me, or nor did my weeping. فَيَا أَسَفًا, oh woe to me. أَسِفْتُ عَلَى الشَّبَابِ, I am regretting my old age. نَعَهُ الشَّيْبُ وَالرَّأْسُ الْخَدِيبُ, my grey hair and my dyed hair, this caused to me that I have become old. فَيَا لَيْتَ الشَّبَابَ فَيَا لَيْتَ الشَّبَابَ يَعُودَ يَوْمًا فَأَخْبِرُهُ بِمَا فَعَلَ الْمَشِيبُ. And he goes, oh how I wish my youth would return to me one day. I wish I had that chance again. That chance that you have now and you may have next year, I wish I had that chance again. And I would tell it what my grey hairs have achieved. I.e., if I could go back in time and tell my younger self what I should have done, then I would have done that. Or you have a third choice. There's a third choice in front of you now. And this is with the capacity that you all have. Everybody's situation is different, but only you have the ability and the power to make that choice. And that is, when October comes, you roll up your sleeves, you dig your heels in, and you do not accept defeat. You do not accept that I don't have the time. You do not accept I don't have the energy. You do not accept that I'm too busy, but you decide for yourself, I have started something and I am going to finish it. I am not going to stop until I can open up the Quran and understand what is being said. I am not going to stop until the Imam's words are clear in my ears. I am not going to stop until I can sit in Shaykh Akram's class and take benefit from that level. This is where our objectives should be. This is where we don't want to just come for 1 year and leave. A half-baked piece of bread benefits no one. You need to complete something so that it can fulfill this objective you have in your mind to understand the Arabic language, to understand the Islamic sciences, and using that to become closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And as the poet said, على قدر أهل العزم تأتي العزائم وتأتي على قدر الكرام المكارم وتعظم في عين الصغير صغارها وتصغر في عين العظيم العظائم. He said that difficulties they come to the people of resolve according to their level. So if you have a high level, if you have a high determination, those difficulties will come at that level, but you will be able to deal with them. And benefits and virtues, they come to those people who are very generous. The more generous you are, the more benefits that you will receive. وَتَعْظَمُ فِي عَيْنِ الصَّغِيرِ صُغَرُهَا. And small things, they look big in the eyes of small people. وَتَصْغُرُ فِي عَيْنِ الْعَظِيمِ الْعَظَائِمُ. And big things, they look small in the eyes of those who are big. So it's upon you now to make these obstacles which you see in front of you small, because this is going to be according to how much resolve you have. If you have that resolve that I am going to come back next year and keep on studying. By the way, I'm not trying to market Al-Salam. Okay? Study with whoever you want to. All I'm saying is don't give up. Don't give up. I see so much potential in this room. And I said this at the beginning of the year. Do you remember what I said? Who remembers what I said? I said, when the course starts, look to your left and look to your right. Many of the people who are next to you won't be sitting next to you at the end of the year. These are the people in front who have lasted, who have struggled and strived and sacrificed to be here week in, week out to study. And we have huge hopes for the people in this room. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bless you, to give you that firm resolve, to make things easy for you. We look forward to seeing you all next year. And who knows, maybe one day, one of you will be sitting, teaching a whole group of students. So we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make things easy for you, to accept all of your actions. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to accept all of the efforts of the administration, Al-Salam, who have facilitated all this for us. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bless our dear respected Shaykh, Shaykh Akram, Shaykh Bairuni, and all of our teachers who have sacrificed to be here. It's been an honor and a privilege to be here with you this year. So please forgive me for any shortcomings. Jazakumullah khairan.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Jazakallah khair to Shaykh Ustadh Akhlaqh for the excellent reminder. It was a very comprehensive reminder, and I don't think I can add much to that, to be absolutely honest. But I just wanted to start off with shukr to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to gratitude to Him for giving us all this amazing opportunity and for allowing us to tread the path of knowledge. And it really is a path that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala chooses for people. And so those people that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has chosen to tread this path, they really are, very, very lucky people, because they're drinking from the spring of the Quran, they're drinking from the wisdom of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So I just wanted to remind myself firstly, and everybody, to do shukr to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that has given us this opportunity, this amazing opportunity to sit with the likes of Shaykh Akram, hafidhahullah, and with all the teachers, and to benefit and to be amongst people like yourselves. Alhamdulillah, it's a benefit for me. And inshallah, with shukr comes ziyada, comes increase, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran. So that's the first thing I wanted to say. And so, leading on from that, congratulations for completing a whole year of studies. It's really, one of the things that you'll always look back on, as Ustadh Akhlaqh said, you is I know he said that don't just look back at this as if it's a nice time, but still you will never regret this time that you spent. I've not come across anybody that regrets sacrificing time to gain knowledge. It doesn't happen. People regret many things. People regret spending time in, have you come across those stories, those studies that they do of people on their deathbeds, and the regrets that they have in their life. And you can read them. Many of them say that I worked too much. I didn't spend enough time with my family. I spent too much time doing this. Etc. Etc. So, but this whole thing about this whole venture and this whole journey is something that you will never regret, inshallah. So take heart from that and allow that to be a springboard for future, inshallah. You will never regret this, inshallah. And this is something for your akhirah. But the third thing I suppose I wanted to end on was that, or a couple of things I suppose, was that firstly that just to remind myself that life is very short, and years pass by, and decades pass by, and before you know it, you were youthful, and then before you know it, you are old, and you're looking at meeting Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that is the reality of life. And so as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Ya ayyuha alladhina amanu ittaqullaha wal tanzur nafsum ma qaddamat lighad wattaqullah inna Allah khabirun bima ta'malun. O you who believe, fear Allah, be conscious of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, have piety. Wal tanzur nafsum ma qaddamat lighad. Let each soul look at what they have forwarded for the next life. Lighad. So that should be, and fear Allah, as the Quran says. Indeed, Allah is aware of everything you do. So this is, this should be the driving force in our life. This should be the driving force. I came across, I sometimes listen to health blogs and to, as some of the people who travel with me know, they were saying that one of the things that improves your life or increases, they've done this study of these explorers across the world, National Geographic explorers, and they've identified 5 blue zones across the world where people live to very long ages, right? And one of the key things that they have is that they have a purpose in life. And so they were advising people to have a purpose in your life. It can be any purpose. Obviously, they're advising people to have any purpose, But I was thinking, what greater purpose than to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and to aim for the akhirah. So, always remind yourself that your purpose, every day of your life, when you wake up in the morning, just say to yourself, today, I'm going to try to make today a day where I want to just please Allah. And believe me, subhanAllah, it makes such a big difference because you're offered opportunities and decisions and dilemmas throughout the day. And when you have this at the back of your mind, when you've reminded yourself, you will you take a different course often because of this power that this intention gives. And the final thing is that I just wanted to remind ourselves that our community in this country and the wider community in this country, really is in a situation where people who understand Islam properly need to be teaching Islam in the way that the Quran talks about Islam, in the way that the Prophet ﷺ talk about Islam. We have so many problems in our community, from drugs to violence, to gangs, to so many things, and and what is really needed, and of course, the people that we are living amongst here, they are our people. We should really consider them our people. If you read the Quran, every prophet says, Ya qawmi, Ya qawmi, Ya qawmi, my people, my people, my people. So we should really consider these people to be our people. And we should think in a da'wi mindset. We should think what makes them, what hurts them, what will make them happy. Of course, we don't compromise on our religion, but we should always think, what is it that I can do to break down barriers, and part of that is to present our religion in the best of ways, So, and this is, I think this is one thing that I think, Al-Salam Institute offers, and through the teachings, and the benefit of Shaykh Akram, is that it gives alhamdulillah, a balanced but deep understanding of our religion, and I think that's a lot of what's needed out there. So we need people to learn their religion deeply and properly and proficiently, and then after many years, after completing courses, then to spread that, because many people are in need of that. So barakallahu fikuma anyway, or fikum anyway, jazakumullahu khaira, and I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to accept from us all. Barakallahu fikum.
Okay. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, wa salatu wa salam ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Assalamu alaikum. Okay, so those of you who've been following my talks for a little while know that I either end up laughing or crying. So I'll probably endeavor to do both today. Inshallah, hopefully keep you entertained. Okay, first, obviously after thanking Allah, I'd just like to thank my mum and dad, without whom I just couldn't have been here. And then thank you to all of you who decided to attend this fine gathering rather than attending the Mellah that's been going on. I know it was like close call for some of you, Mellah, Al-Salam, but mashallah, you made it, alhamdulillah. It's good to see you all. Ustadh Akhlaqh, man, what did you read my notes? Half the things I was going to say, you nicked them. Okay, so I will talk as an Arabic teacher. I'm pretending to be an Arabic teacher for a while, to those people who are studying Arabic, because they are my primary concern. And I know, some of you probably struggle, particularly in the foundation year. It's hard, and maybe halfway through the year we think, I used to have this diagram I'd do where I'd start at the beginning of the year, they have the smiley face. Halfway through the year, they're looking really depressed. Hopefully, by the time the exams come, they're starting to smile again because the Arabic is sinking in there, inshallah. So, mashallah, you made it here. The ones that are still here, alhamdulillah. And I'm not saying this because Al-Salam is offering me any commission for this, although Abu Kawthar. Anybody who signs up, 10%, yeah? Okay, but some of you may be thinking, alhamdulillah, I've done the year. Phew, that's it, forget it, I'm stopping now. But I would really urge you not to make that mistake. And I think it would be a mistake, you'd regret it going forward. Now, I see Arabic as kind of like a rock. That sounds a bit strange, and not because it's kind of rough and knobbly and can squash you if you're not careful, although that may be true of Arabic, but more because basically it's kind of like pushing a rock up a hill, learning Arabic. And the problem is if you stop pushing the rock up the hill, then the rock will start to roll back down the hill again. And it may not get all the way to the bottom, but you'll start halfway back down the hill again and you'll end up pushing. And you see people, I've done this course and that course and this course, and every time they just keep starting from scratch again and again and again and again. You have to keep pushing until you get the rock to a ledge where it's not going to come back down again. And that basically is, you can read and understand the Quran, and it's useful in your life, and you're not going to lose it. So don't give up until you've reached that level, okay? Now, it's vital that you have a clear goal that you want to achieve. And I say this as somebody who's been in the past and maybe regretted some of the not having clear goals or not following through until I got to where I wanted to. But for example, I heard this story about one student of knowledge who was, there's a book of Maliki fiqh called Mukhtasar al-Khalil. It's quite a difficult text in Maliki fiqh, it's like high, but once you'd finished that, then you could become a qadi. And he went and he studied this book with the Shaykh, and he tried to study it 9 times. He tried to study this book, and then after 9 times, he thought, forget it, I just can't understand it, it's too hard. And he's sitting down and he watches, and he sees an ant in the desert. He's sitting in the desert, he sees this ant pushing this little stone up this little hill. And the ant tries to push the stone up the little hill. Every time it gets near the top, the little stone rolls back down the hill again. 9 times the ant does this, and then on the 10th time the ant manages to push this little rock up the hill. And he says to himself, am I going to have less, conviction than this little ant? So he went back and he studied the book for the 10th time, and after that Allah opened the way for him, and he finished it and he completed it and he understood it. Alhamdulillah. So don't give up. Just keep doing it. Because like Ustadh Akhlaqh mentioned, you don't want to look back and regret. So, for example, when over 20 years ago now, I went and I lived, after I finished my degree, they wanted me to do one of these lunchtime talks. I avoided it, getting it all here. I finished my degree at SOAS and I went to Egypt. I spent a year there, studying there. And when I was there, I was doing hifth. 4 to 6 hours, I'd be walking up and down my flat, memorizing, walking up and walking down. And I was doing other things too, kind of thing. Got to about 10 juz. And some from before and some whatever like that after. And then my dad came over, he said, come back. I had a place to come and study in Cambridge, so I came back. So he said, come back now and do your studies. That turning point that's one of those points in life where, I think, I stopped and I came back. Every year since then, I've been looking and thinking, that year I should have stayed there, Could have finished. You don't want to be looking back and think, I should have stayed there, I should have done it, I should have stayed there. But I still haven't given up. Still doing the hifz now, 20 years later. And I will either die a hafid or die on the way to doing it, inshallah. And you have to do the same conviction. I'm going to learn this language, or I'm going to meet Allah being one of those who tried to do it or died on the way doing it. Okay? Don't look back and think 20 years from now, every year you'll be thinking, no, I could have done, I should have stayed one more year. Al-Salam. 10%, yeah? Bismillah. Okay, the other thing is, look around you. Ustadh Akhlaqh said, at the beginning of the year, he looked and he said, look around you, because there will be people here who you won't find them at the end of the year. And that is true. It's true. MashaAllah, Salam, to be honest, they do pretty well. Normally when you teach Arabic, if you end up with 15-20% of the students that you start with, you're thinking, this is good. So As-Salam is doing way better than that, MashaAllah. Okay? But I say the same to you again now. Look around you. If you don't continue and get to where your goal is, you will meet these same people walking down the street one day or doing whatever, or some event or whatever, and they will have surpassed you and gone on and learned what they needed to learn and reached that goal that you had. And you'll be sitting there looking at them thinking, that could have been me, that could have been me. Don't let yourself be one of those people. Yeah? Now, just wanted to end with, I heard the story that Imam Abu Hanifa, is a phenomenal individual, mashallah. He used to give advice to his students. So he gave one particular piece of advice, that's what I heard, to Qadi Abu Yusuf. So he said to Qadi Abu Yusuf, treat each of your students like they're your own son. So with that, I just wanted to share with you some things that I say to my own son. First of all, do your Quran every day. Read your Quran every day. Be good to your mother. These things. Get off your backside, go make me a cup of tea. Stop bouncing your ball. These kind of things. Just thought I'd share those with you. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed the year. I know I enjoyed teaching it. If anybody does come back, just give my name to Abu Kawthar. 10% inshallah. I did notice Shaykh Akram actually laughed and smiled once or twice during my talk. That's been one of my, mashallah, defining, can I get to that stage? Then I know I've done it, inshallah. Especially with that joke at the end there. I wasn't sure whether they give me a job next year. So I just, hopefully I'm still here, inshallah. If I'm not here, you know why. Petitions can go round, whatever you want to do. Hope you enjoyed the show. As-salamu alaykum.
السلام عليكم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. I think as the brother said, there's nothing for me left to say it and to remind you with, but I'll try to share with you what I was just sharing with the brothers downstairs. I started teaching Al-Salam 3 years ago, and every year I decide to stop because of family commitment here and there. I live far. But the love that I had in my heart since I started, and the gathering that I see like this, mashallah, tabarakallah. Although when I came in, I thought that those are visitors. I asked the teacher, are these students or not? Because usually I'm on the first floor and the first floor, second floor. And that love that I had in my heart made me to come first, second year and third year, and hopefully inshallah the fourth year as well. It did just remind me of Abu Darda radiallahu anhu, when he was a big trader during his time, early time, Abu Darda al-Ansari. And then he decided to seek the knowledge, like you did. You decided to seek the knowledge and you attended Al-Salam. He tried to manage to make the balance between seeking the knowledge and just to be like a trader and have business I'm sure that he had the ideas like you had the idea in your mind, saying that I'm going to support myself by having business. I can't do this, I can't do that. He tried and tried, he could not manage to make the balance. So he chose to leave out the trading and he continued with the knowledge. And so seeking the knowledge is very, very important. Rasulullah ﷺ said, "Inna ma'ashar al-anbiya la natruku aw la natruku dirhaman wa la dinaran. Innama tarakna al-ilm." What we left behind us, we left the ilm. And if you get the ilm, you get the inheritance of Rasulullah ﷺ. So there is no wealth that you get from Rasulullah ﷺ. What he left behind him is the ilm, the knowledge. And the more you get from Rasulullah ﷺ, from the knowledge, you are getting the inheritance of Rasulullah ﷺ. I was saying earlier, you get inheritance from your parents, you get a limited share. And that share, you will be, the other shares will be taken by family members. But with Rasulullah ﷺ, you take, the more you learn, the more you get from the ilm, there's no limit for it. One day, Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu, as Imam Al-Khatib Al-Baghdadi narrated, he said he came out from the masjid of Rasulullah ﷺ, and he went in the middle of the market in Medina. He stopped in the middle of the market, he said, "Ya Ahl al-Suq, Ya Ahl al-Suq, Ya Ahl al-Suq," oh people of the market. They got around him because he wants to make an announcement. He said, "Ma a'jazakum," and can be said, "Ma a'jazukum." Inshallah, for those who are learning Arabic, you're going to learn later on the difference between making a question and the difference between making ta'ajjub, astonishment, and making like amazing about something. So they said, "Wama dhaka ya Aba Hurairah?" What is the matter? They are around him. He said, the inheritance of Rasulullah ﷺ is being divided now inside the masjid, and you're not there to take your share. Hurry up, go inside and get your share. They start going one after one. They went all inside the masjid, rushing, and left their slaves looking after the shops. When they went inside, they could not find anything. Abu Hurairah, the narrator said, he waited in the middle of the market. He knew that they're going to come back. So when they came back, they said, "Ya Aba Hurairah, ma taqulu?" What did you say, Abu Hurairah? We couldn't find anything. There is no wealth there to be shared by anyone, and not people in there anywhere. Said, "What did you find then in there?" They said, "We found 3 things. We found people standing, praying inside the masjid. And what else?" They said, "We found people sitting, reading Quran as normal. And what else?" He said, "We found people sitting like you, studying, discussion together, what is halal and what is haram." He said to them, he looked at them, "Ma a'jazakum." That is the inheritance of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Go and get share from that. The ilm that you learn it, that is what Rasulullah left behind him. The more you get from there is the more share you get. from there. And there is nothing for you in London, as far as I know. I live in London for now about 21 years. There's nothing for you in London. The brother Eli said, hey, I don't promote Al-Salam. I'll promote Al-Salam. I'll face Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with this. It's not, and again, I'm going to say this, clarify that, I'm not taking any share from that, any commissions. But you're not going to find caring, soft, nice, kind, knowledgeable teachers. On top of all this team, you'll find a scholar like Shaykh Muhammad Akram and Nadwi. We're not going to find it. This is the inheritance. He is a big share. Every Sunday, if you come and you get something, you are getting a really big thing. You are lucky if you are accepted. It's not say, I'm not going to beg you to enroll next year. You're lucky if you've been accepted, and if you're lucky if you'll be in the class of Shaykh Akram. You thank Allah if you are in that class. So you need to have something, which is, I'm going to go shift something else. I didn't do what I said to the brothers earlier. You need to have something called mulazama, musahaba, being attached to a shaykh. And that is the practice and the actions of our ulama from the past. How are you going to do that? How are you going to achieve the being mulazama and musahaba with the shaykh? None of the shuyukh that you see them in here, none of the teachers will allow you to be with the teacher 24 hours or 12 hours. The only time they'll accept you to be with them, the time of the class. After that, everyone goes to their way. So you're not going to find the time of Abu Hurairah, the time of Rasulullah, the time of the tabi'een, the time of the scholars after that, when they allowed the students to be with them all the time. Even sometimes, like Masruq. Masruq became like a son of Aisha. Masruq al-Ajda', one of the narrators of Hadith, one of the great scholars. He was all the time with Aisha. He learned all the knowledge from Aisha. He loved Aisha. He called his daughter Aisha, Abu Aisha. All the knowledge from him. You'll find like Amra, you're a sister, Amra bint Abdul Rahman. She was also a big scholar in Medina. She learned the knowledge from Aisha radiallahu anha. It's all to do with the mulazama. The people, you find them having a lot of knowledge, solid knowledge, because they had a person, a guide with them all the time teaching them. You're not going to find this in London. We talk about in theory, you're not going to find this in London. But what you're going to find in London here, you're going to find an institute opening the doors for you, and they have fantastic teachers, fantastic syllabus. You come and be with them every Sunday, 10 o'clock until 6 o'clock. That is the best mulazama you can do in this century. And don't dream, go until you're finding the old ways of mulazamat and being with the teachers. It will teach you, at least after seeking the knowledge, there are 2 points you get to learn them in there. One, so you learn, you have the knowledge, and above that, you're going to learn the adab. You're going to learn the etiquettes, the manners, how you ask the question, how you sit. All of that are the policies of the institute. And you're not allowed to ask until you be given the permission. It's not a market. All of that, you think about it as enforcement from the institute, but they are adab. They are manners. You learn them. How to ask the question, how you sit, how you open the book, how you read. The institute are making syllabus for you from start until the end. That is one of the adab. Nowadays, people outside, they go, they get a book and read. Their teachers, the WhatsApp and Facebook and internet, but you have teachers in front of you. They have a body in front of you, tells you what to study. Starting from this, you have foundation year. You can then the following year, and then the following year, until you get into the top, into advanced level, and you will be able to sit with Shaykh Akram and learn from him. And that is all etiquettes and learnings. You're not going to find it if you are learning from a book. You're not going to find all of this if you're learning from an internet or Facebook or whatever in there. So you have to come, you have to attend the institute, Al-Salam Institute. That is the best place for you to learn. And I would like to see all of you, inshallah, next year here. That's the first point. The second point you learn after the adab, you're going to learn correcting your mistakes. We do make mistakes when you are learning. Sometimes when you read, you think that sometimes you know, but the reality, brothers and sisters, we all, people who are on this, during the period of learning, we think that we grasp, we think that we know that, but the reality we don't know. We still don't know. And who's going to tell you that is the teacher. If you have a book, you read and you read and you think you memorized what is in the book and you think that you already understood what's in the book, maybe correct, maybe wrong. But who's going to tell you that? The teacher. When he's going to give you an assessment, while you're reading, is going to correct your recitation or reading, when you are giving a view and he will correct you, your view is wrong. All of that, the benefit of being in the institute. All of that, the benefit of being studying through a group of teachers, a team of teachers, starting from scratch until you got into higher level. One day, a person, as Al-Khatib al-Baghdadi also narrated, one person came from far away. He came into as At-Tayalisi, the students of Shu'bah, was saying, Shu'bah ibn al-Hajjaj, one of the great ulama, hadith scholars. He said, the narrator said, a person غريب, رجل غريب, أتى مجلس شعبة. He came, attended the majlis of Shu'bah ibn al-Hajjaj. And he sat close to Shu'bah, rahimahullah. He said, I have a question. Ask. He said, he started with saying the introduction. I came from far away. You came maybe from Manchester or Cambridge or Oxford. He came from Al-Maghrib. He was in Iraq where Shu'bah ibn Hajjaj. He came from far, far away. And I have a question. He said, Hadithni. He made a journey. He said, took me the journey 6 months to get to your majlis. So what do you want? He said, I want hadith. So what is the hadith? He gave him hadith. I can't even remember it, the hadith. The hadith talks about fadl, the virtues of seeking the knowledge, and you got up to the level that when even you're wearing shoes made of metal or something like that. He said, I want the chain or this hadith to narrate this hadith to me. Shu'bah ibn al-Hajjaj, as soon as he heard that, he turned away. Ignored him. Nowadays, of the teacher, if the teacher ignores you or ignores your question, you'll get upset. You say, oh, that is bad, that is rude. But that's teaching. That's a part of teaching. Because this person, he made a long journey, came from far away, asking a question that it doesn't deserve all of that. You should ask more important questions like this than this. And that you're not going to get it from without a teacher. The teacher is the one who's going to advise you. Maybe you hold a book, you're clever, you're smart, you're a Cambridge graduate, you're Oxford graduate, you are studying at home, you get in a book, you go straight away to Sahih Muslim. You go straight away into a very advanced book, but you did not study Usul al-Hadith, Mustalah al-Hadith. You didn't study Usul al-Fiqh. You didn't study Usul al-Tafsir. You didn't study the language. You're reading. You don't know between fa'al and maf'ul bihi, and you're jumping into something higher than you. And that's what happened to this person. He ignored him. You know what happened after that? This person started crying, getting the attention of Shu'bah ibn al-Hajjaj. I came from far away, Shaykh. Please. Begging. And that's another teaching. If you don't get to the level of begging your teacher, yes, begging. Yeah, you smile, begging. In some way, yes. Yes. Seeking the hadith or getting the knowledge, it wasn't an easy in old days. We have, in our history, we have a very tough teachers because inna al-ilma nur. The ilm is nur, and the nur will not be given to anyone. It will be given to only those people who deserve it. And I'm sure you deserve that, but you need to continue and you need to be giving that, really showing to the teacher that you really deserve that knowledge. You want to learn, and the teacher will open the doors for you. As a salam, they open the doors for you to learn. So he was begging him, asking him, and then he said, Ya akhal Maghrib, or the brother from Maghrib, and he gave him the chain. Haddathana Hammad, and then went with the chain until Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, من نام عن صلاة أو نسيها فليصليها حين يذكرها أو كما قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. If someone slept, could not wake up for salah, or someone forgot that he's going to pray the salah, then you pray the salah at the time when you remember it. That's the time for the salah. He said, this is what you should learn. This is what if you have a course coming from far away, you will be something like that your attention to learn it. It's not anything else. It's not something that less than that. You have to have priorities. You have to have something important and something less important. You will not be able to know that. I'm telling you that with full mouth, brothers and sisters. Even if you are Cambridge graduate, even if you are Oxford graduate, the only person who will tell you that the people are sitting in there. Who's going to guide you what you learn first and what you learn second? Because they went through this experience. They have years, they're learning in that, and they will tell you this. And they are representing Al-Salam. If you don't come to Al-Salam, and that's why you started from this year, foundation year, and then you gang up with that. So really, my request to you, keep up. This is the mulazama for you. This is really the attachment for the Shaykh and the teacher. Keep up the learning. Come next year. There's so many things in life in here. Life in London is not easy. But also remember, the deen came to you, not in an easy way. The Sahaba, they struggled. Rasulullah struggled. The Tabi'in struggled. The scholars struggled as well. So we need to have something. Remember Abu Hurairah with Rasulullah 3.5 years, 4 years, accepted Islam in year 7. He was the biggest narrator in Islam. Remember Mujahid ibn Jabr, the students of Ibn Abbas. He recited the Quran 30 times to Ibn Abbas. Means that how many years he stayed with him? How many times you recited the Quran to your teacher? How many times you finished one book from cover to cover to a teacher? How many books you studied? Ask yourself. Look to the Qadi Abu Yusuf, rahimahullah. He stayed with Imam Abu Hanifa 18 years or 19 years, some narrations, studying, learning from him. At the time when his wife was advising him and saying to him that you got to the level, you should have your own circle. He started his own circle in Al-Kufa Masjid, competing with his great Shaykh, Imam Abu Hanifa. Imam Abu Hanifa gave him a lesson. You don't know. And who's going to show you that you don't know? Your teachers there. One day you might think that we say in Arabic, you become to the level of that philosophy. You become like you know and you know, you start talking. Because you have maybe a smart mind and you are good, but the teacher will show you that you don't know. Imam Abu Hanifa tested him and he showed him that you don't know. You still need to sit in the circle. You still need to discipline yourself. You need to get that level and up to finish everything. Then I will give you the permission to go and teach. So that's what we need. We need a mulazama. We need to be attached to our teachers and our shuyukh. And that is in coming and attending Al-Salam Institute. Because you're not going to find a teacher who's going to allow you to be with him or with her all the time. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give me and you the tawfiq. And inshallah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it easy for you to continue next year, inshallah. And we'll see you inshallah next year. Okay. Allahu Akbar.
Alhamdulillah, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. I think everything has really been said. I'm reminded of that statement, similar to what one of our mashayikh here said, about teachers giving advice like Shaykh Aymen mentioned it, like fathers or parents to their children. They said that there are 3 fathers. Everyone has 3 fathers. Your father, that biological father that gave birth to you. The father, your biological father, the father of your wife is also your father. Or your father of your husband is also your father. And your teacher is also like a father. So what are the advices that really ought to be given in that sort of spirit? Firstly, brothers and sisters, colleagues and students really. First advice really to be given is of mindset. You've worked hard throughout the year, but it's very, very, tempting to now start resting on your laurels and giving up some of the gains you've made. So I want you to, as a first advice, refuse to ever fall into self-pity. Thinking, I've worked so hard, life's so hard. Never allow that to creep into your life. In your personal life or in your studies. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, إِن تَكُونُوا تَأْلَمُونَ فَإِنَّهُمْ يَأْلَمُونَ كَمَا تَأْلَمُونَ. If you are feeling pain and going through difficulty, understand other people who are not on your path, they're also suffering in their paths, in seeking the dunya, in seeking that. So, but you have an opportunity to do something and hope for the rewards, the blessings, the grace of Allah in a manner which they cannot hope for that in their paths. So have hope for something which they cannot hope for. And in accordance, let that hope reflect, let it shine that light, that glorious light on your path as you tread this path to Him. So don't feel self-pity. Rather continue in your efforts. Secondly, brothers and sisters, we talk about community a lot and how they need to be given, a source of Islamic understanding. You're meant to go back and help them eventually. One of the greatest things that will help our communities and our families will be when we ourselves individually, we uphold the teachings of Islam in our lives. When you become someone who embodies that guidance in your own life, in your spirit, in your attitude, in your mindset, in our attitude and mindset, you begin to hold a type of light, a nur. And that light is so appealing, so attractive, that it naturally draws and invites others onto that same path. أَوَمَنْ كَانَ مَيْتًا فَأَحْيَيْنَاهُ, like the one who is deceased or dead, lifeless. And then they become someone who's guided and upholds the guidance of the Prophet ﷺ, the guidance of the Quran. They're like a living person amongst people who are not, who don't share that heightened level of life. Everyone wants to be living like that sort of life. Enlightened, uplifted spirits, guided, enlightened minds, enlightened hearts, enlightened limbs. You have that opportunity through the knowledge that you were given by your mashayikh and shuyukh. And that requires, brothers and sisters, you two and us to really have the integrated life, whereby our minds are engaged, our hearts are engaged, and our actions are engaged. I won't share it with yourselves right now, maybe this will be a speech for another day, but I often break it down into, you have this thing called IQ, which is meant to be your intellectual quotient, and that's about how your mind works. Then you have another one called, now there's EQ, which is your ability to empathize emotionally. There are another two Qs which I want you to remember. IQ, EQ. This is Abid making up the other two Qs, right? So the third Q is your MQ. Your ability to think with a Muslim mindset, where you integrate, how much is my mindset really thinking like the Quran has guided me? Am I prioritizing what it prioritizes? Am I deprioritizing that which should be lower, subordinated? Have I got that Muslim outlook, the Islamic outlook, the Quranic outlook, which I'm calling the MQ? And then there's a final one, a fourth final one, which is TQ. IQ, EQ, MQ, and the fourth one being TQ. And this is your taqwa quotient, where you decide to have the will, the determination, not just to view life through the lens of being of Islam and I understand it, but you are determined to live that in your life, to reflect that in my decisions, my judgments, my emotions, my attitudes, my instincts. When I have that, I will stand as a model for my families, for my communities, and thereby be like that one, a woman kana maytan, the one who was lacking that guidance, that light. And then they took on that light, that from the Mishkat al-Nubuwah, from the example of the Prophet ﷺ's lamp. And then they become this appealing proposition to our communities and our families. And as I started, I want to end as well by saying, don't give up by feeling, low and self-pity. And I just wanted to share this, that I think it was in the New Scientist some periods back. They shared a particular bit of research. They said, do you know when your mind actually learns the most? When you think you're learning the least, when you're kind of meeting a dead end, a wall. It's that Arabic students will especially be mindful of this, but all of us, where you're learning something in hadith or fiqh, usul, in Arabic, in Quran, and you're thinking, I'm not taking in anything. They say it's at that point your brain is actually forming the maximum number of synapses. Neurological connections, where this knowledge is what's going to become deep knowledge, intellectually, cognitively. So don't feel sorry for yourselves, don't give up, but rather double down in your efforts, brothers and sisters, and understand the vision should be to integrate it into your life with, as I said, IQ, EQ, MQ, and TQ, and then inshallah we'll be able to benefit ourselves and our families as well. هذا وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على رسول الله والحمد لله رب العالمين. I want to thank really all of yourselves for your company on this journey. I want to thank the mashayikh, the shuyukh. I feel so grateful to Allah to have colleagues like the teachers. Each one of them, I hear them speak, and I feel like I'm reduced back to my earliest days of studying. I really, when I heard Shaykh Aymen, Shaykh Ahmed, Shaykh Akhlaqh, Shaykh Akram, I felt literally like a student in their classes, thinking I don't really have anything I can share thereafter myself. I thank Allah for their company, and I want to thank also the admin team, our colleagues from the admin team, who really make this possible. They are our unsung heroes in reality. So we remember the Prophet ﷺ said, whoever doesn't thank the people hasn't thanked Allah. So I wanted to thank all of you, inshallah. Jazakumullah khair. Sallallahu sallam wa baraka ala Rasulullah walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin.
Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulih Muhammad wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'een, amma ba'd. So Alhamdulillah, you have got such great advice from your teachers, and if you act on any of them, inshallah it will be so good for you, for your future. Any of those nasahim, inshallah. I just summarize these in 3 points. One is, when you leave now, so you have got at least 3 months. So you don't think that, I finished, I've got holidays. This is not right really. My teacher, Maulana Hassan Nadwi, used to say, Magar madrase ko chutti nahi. Madrasa have no holidays. So there are no holidays in madrasa. The meaning is after you go, still you need to study, read, learn whatever you have read, revise it. And there are so many good Arabic readers, you can find them and read them on your own. You have been studying with the teachers, now you need to learn yourself. So, there are books of the stories in Arabic language, books of, some hadith, small commentaries, something small tafsir, have some of them, read with the help of the dictionary, you learn something. So first thing is, keep revising what you have done, inshallah, and improve your Arabic as much as possible, revise the grammar and the language. Second thing is, when you go home, you make effort to implement. So now you have got more time to do your prayers properly, spend more time on that, read the Quran. As Shaykh Aymen said, read the Quran, maybe 2 pages, 3 pages, and make more reflection, more understanding to improve your ibadah, serve your family, look after your relatives, to implement what you have been reading, inshallah. It will help you and the knowledge will increase. And the third thing is that always keep thinking. The reason that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made a human being more distinctive from anybody else, because the mind. Human being is the most noble. Why? Because the mind thinking. The problem is most people don't think. Even those who think, they don't think for everything. Like scientists, they're good thinkers, but they only think about something. Most part of their life, they don't think. They follow things blindly. They don't raise any question about many important things. So that's not right. People never should abandon mind. Mind always must be present. Whenever you do something, think before that. What is my source, what I'm doing, and also think what is consequences. If I do something, what will happen? If you keep insisting on these 2 things, you become thinker, inshallah. The first thing is, whatever you do, whatever you say, what is the source? Second thing, if I say something, and if I do something, what will be the consequences? So I'm thinking about the consequences actually makes people think. The ulama used to say that an-nazar fil awaqib talqihun lil uqul. When people look in the consequences, their mind becomes much, much sharper. So it helps you. I just end with the poetic verse, from Iqbal. So he said that कर सकते थे जो अपने ज़माने की इमामत, वो कोहना दिमाग अपने ज़माने के हैं पैरो. Those people who could have been the leaders of their time, because of their not thinking, they have become followers of the time. When people abandon the thinking, they become followers. Because they don't want to take responsibility. If you think you can be leading, you can take responsibility. The thinkers are the ones who lead. Those who don't think, they are led by the people. And unfortunately, for a long time, Muslims, in this world, they have become followers because they don't think. They don't use their mind. So, all the advisors have been said to you. I said a few words, and all the teachers have said, certainly, really, maybe it helps Al-Salam Institute and the teachers because they get reward. But actually, it helps you. It is far you. And the last poetic verse I say, and then stop. This actually is something my teacher Ustadh Hassan always used to remind us in the beginning of the academic year and at the end. So he used to say, अपने मन में डूब कर पाजा सुरागे जिंदगी तू अगर मेरा नहीं बनता न बन अपना तो बन अपने मन में डूब कर पाजा सुराग ज़िंदगी sink in yourself and find out the secret of the life. What the secret of the life is. Think, go deep into yourself. Think really that what is the secret of the life. अपने मन में डूब कर पाजा सुराग ज़िंदगी तू अगर मेरा नहीं बनता न बन अपना तो बन. If you don't want to be mine, fine, don't be mine, but be yours. Think about yourself, what is good for you. So that will be our advice really. Everybody has been working hard, all the teachers, and really, we should thank the teachers. But at the end of the day, it is your future, your life. So think, if we don't listen to them, we can't harm them. But if you don't listen to them, you're going to harm yourself. So, at least, make sure that you benefit yourself. Wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin.